Mr. Will Caminada.
Hey, Sean. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for this round two. Um, we had some technical difficulties first time round, but I think we're good to go on this one.
Yes.
So how are you doing, Will? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Yeah,
You've just
nothing.
moved. You've just
Yeah, moved into a new apartment, just settling things in, but I'm used to it now.
fantastic. So where exactly are you, Will?
I'm in São Paulo, in Brazil.
Oh,
So,
fantastic, fantastic.
South America. So kind of where in the same line as you maybe, because you're in
Yes, we
Cape
are.
Town, right? So it's winter here, even though it's sunny and it's not so cold today. So
Well, you can tell like I'm wearing all the layers. We got snow in the mountains just a little bit north of us. Yeah, it's quite cold here. But well, let's dive into a beautiful chat here. Since this full moon, let's just dive right deep. Let's just go in all the way deep. Since this full moon and since these energies of this Capricorn full moon have come past us this last weekend, everyone is either in a real freak out or they are feeling and growing consciously exponentially at the moment. Let's chat about that.
hmm. I feel like there's a lot happening lately. For me, I feel like the solstice, which was kind of a month ago, around 20th of June, was a big like turning point, and I felt like a big shift for me individually, but also for the collective. Then we also had the 7-7 series portal, and we're entering the Lions Gateway on the 8th of 8th. This year it's a triple eight because it's a year 8. So I feel like we're getting prepared for that portal, and the full moon to all of these cycles. They prepare us for that letting go, making room for the new so that you can not just manifest the life that you're envisioning and you're co-creating, but also to know what you want to co-create from the place that you are now. Because with all these cycles, there are little deaths, like ego deaths. Sometimes they're not so little, but it's just the process. It's just the cycles that we go through. If you're committed to this path of ascension and healing and expansion, it's just going to continue to to go. You're going to continue to go through those cycles, and because
Yeah,
Mother Earth is going through those cycles in a very um, rapid pace too, because
yeah,
we're receiving a lot of new light codes and solar flares. This is all just new information that she's receiving, that's going to help her in her process of ascension. And we are, I like to see humans as like the cells of Mother Earth. And so we are we have the power to choose whether we want to ride along that or not. But most of us who are in this path, we have made the decision, even if it wasn't necessarily like a contract. It's just,
yeah.
like there's no going back. Like once you awaken and you're on this path, you're just, you just keep going. So yeah, I feel like this is all just opportunities for us to continue to expand. And yes, it sometimes it's a little too much, because it can be really fast. And I feel like compared to say like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it's just faster. You know, like you
It's
see a lot
faster.
of people awakening and then they just start getting things in a much quicker way.
Yeah. And not only is it solar flares coming from our beautiful sun and the energy coming up from Pachamama, but we are also being aided by our star brothers and sisters from all races, more races than we actually know, from our cousins, the Pleiadians, to the Syrians, to the Arcturians, to the Andromedans, to the Lyrans. And we're being told daily, and you're being told also daily through your channelings, that they are supporting us and they are loving us and they are rooting for us. So, I want to bring up the point of a lot of people are going through tough times because they don't actually know physically. We haven't been in this kind of process before. Although we have many moons ago, we just can't remember that time. And a lot of people are freaking out because they're having ascension symptoms. They're, I don't think they're as tapped in as a lot of the spiritual community is. And so I think this is why I'm starting to chat with lovely people like you, is because we can get that information out there and say, it's okay. You did commit to having this experience, this lifetime, at this time. And this experience has been agreed upon and has been planned for a very long time. And we've just got to trust that process.
Yeah.
So we're almost saying to people who are not kind of as tapped in, we've got to be able to look after the body because ascension symptoms are happening in the body. So there's quite a few things that we can do to alleviate that. So eating healthy, drinking lots of water, getting as much exercise as you can, getting as much sleep as you can, trusting in the process, allowing and surrendering what's going on in your body because we are physically changing to just happen and allow that and work your way through that. And just know also that this process, there's something so much bigger and more beautiful on the other side, past the veil. And so just like, let's say something to the people who are kind of going through a tough time.
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on what you just said about taking care of yourself and taking care of the body, because I feel like the physical body sometimes is taken for granted, because we are receiving a lot of these new light codes, and it might feel like we're receiving from the sun that's like an external being, but actually that happens too. Like energetically, we are receiving through our portals, our chakras, but that activates us on a cellular level. So we are being changed on a cellular level too, and so that's why then the body's like, okay, what's going on? I need some time to integrate, to adjust to this new frequency that it's new to this body. So it's really, really important for especially star seeds, and then there are different types of star seeds too. Like some of them that are like first time incarnated in on this planet, they really have a really hard time being in the body, and so they're probably the ones that really need to take really good care, do whatever they can to support their body. Some of us, we've been here for many lifetimes, so it's not as uncomfortable. So we kind of we've done this before. So maybe the body is not the main challenge, but it could also be like the emotions or the mental bodies, because we have to remind ourselves that we are multidimensional beings, and just the fact that we have these subtle bodies, these energetic bodies, such as the mental body, the emotional body, and our causal body or our spiritual body, they are all subtle bodies that also receive those light codes, and they also need nurturing and attention. But I do feel like, the body for all of us is the one that somatizes these emotions, or that needs more adjusting and more time to integrate this new light code. So I feel like I second what you just said. Like, it's so important for you to move your body, to be grounded, to find practices that can help you to just be embodied, just be in your body. Whatever it is that works for you, whether it's yoga, working out, running, stretching, whatever it is that you feel good in your body, that you feel like energy is moving through your body, because that's what your body needs to. And healthy food, good quality water. So if you're complaining about the Ascension symptoms, but then you're just eating chips and drinking alcohol, that's not going to be
Then
good.
yeah, exactly.
And it's
Then you can go through the Ascension symptoms just on your own.
Yeah, then I wouldn't even say it's an Ascension symptom. It's just your body not being in a optimal health. So it's really, really, really important. And then obviously the emotions as well. I feel like we are still handling and dealing with a wide spectrum of emotions currently as
Mm,
humans.
mm.
And so we've been programmed and conditioned for so many years to judge certain emotions and to place them in boxes. This is bad, this is good, so I want more of this. But actually, emotions are just energy. Emotions, they're neutral. They're here to move through you, to move through your body and your energy bodies, so that you can move on to the next level of consciousness. They're literally a bridge to higher states of consciousness. And so once you allow yourself to feel without judgment, just actually make the time to just check in with yourself. How are you feeling? And so you can do that through breath work or meditation or even journaling. I think journaling is great to express. Um, and it's all interconnected, right? Because if you're feeling angry or frustrated and then you move your body or go for a run, then you just allow that energy to move. So whatever works for you, I just think we have to, yes, start approaching our practices as a multidimensional approach to them, knowing that it's not just here's the physical, here's the emotional, here's the spiritual. It's all interconnected. Like, my workout can be as a spiritual practice as much as my meditation.
Exactly. And so, like, sometimes we don't have to think about exercise as running. We can actually just do a little bit of, like Kerry Kay said the other day, a little bit of intuitive spine movement.
Yeah, just
Just
dance.
shifting. Yeah, just dance. Just let the emotions flow through. And as you said that, I realized yet again that our emotions, as energy moving through the body, are there to only do, for me, one certain thing, and that is to point out your beliefs and restrictions of who you think you are and what is happening around you. So I think some people will put a lot of emphasis on emotions, like, oh, I'm feeling angry. They've been taught anger is bad. I can't feel angry. I'm not going to do this. But it's only, and so there's your signal already. If you look at emotions neutrally, like from love all the way down to fear as the two polarities, if you completely just null and void those two polarities and you just see it as a signal for you to look at your own belief system, that's it. So then it'll just become easier. Like if anger arises and it's a vicious anger, like it's just saying to yourself, I've got a belief that I can shift right now. If somebody's in my face, I don't have to be defensive anymore. And then the anger just kind of disappears and you can shift it mentally and emotionally as well at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I always say that your emotional system is also your guidance system. And that's a beautiful example. Like they're pointing out to beliefs within us, or even to decisions that you might want to make. You know, right? If you have a decision to make, your feelings are signaling or hinting you what is the best option for you based on how you feel, based on how your body feels as well. Like, again, the body has this divine intelligence that we sometimes take for granted.
Yeah. And, on that note, you are what you eat. So going back to food, because I think these kind of things are really important at the moment. We can talk about our star being cousins and brothers and sisters for forever, and that is your speciality. And I'm starting to learn a lot about that, working with spirit beings and extraterrestrial beings, because I'm calling them in too. I mean, I know that we're all from that DNA lineage. So, and they're here to help. But I'm finding out too that, this is very much on a DNA level. Um, the one thing that I think a lot of unawakened people should realize is the hard truth that we've been under a spell from the Cabal forces and what Barbara Messiniak says calls the Lizzies, or the Pleiadians call the Lizzies. We've been under a spell, people, for so long. We've been under this dark, encapsulated matrix dark grid. Literally, physically around the world, there has been an electromagnetic or a grid that has been stopping the solar energy from coming in because they didn't want us to awaken. They wanted to keep us slaves because they feed off our fear. This might sound fucking woo-woo to a lot of people, but I think it's time that people start to realize the actual truth and the history of our Earth's now moment. It's big, people. It's big. And we are now realizing that we are stronger, better, faster, quicker, more amazing than we ever were. And to fucking allow that to happen, because we've been suppressed and under the spell for so long. So it actually just doesn't, we're becoming free from this spell. And when you start to look at the spell and see it all around you in society, in politics, in the monetary system, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we have been under a spell. Now, actually, screw that. I'm going this way. I'm ascending. And that's literally what just Ascension is. It's just opening yourself up to who you actually beautifully really are.
Yeah, because that's our power. And so we've been in this, I call it quarantine, for a long time. It wasn't just 15 days or 40 days,
Yeah.
but a long time. And now we're out of it. Like Earth is out of it. And basically, that means that she is becoming a 5D planet, returning to her own sovereignty, and reclaiming or remembering her part and her role in the galactic realm. So as a galactic being, so for this long period of quarantine, Earth was this separate planet, that separate being that felt like, okay, I'm the only planet in this universe, and all of these beings were just continually trying to maintain Earth and us in this quarantine or this false matrix. And now it's gone already. Like this timeline is in the past for us. But obviously they'll continue to try to keep us in that space. And like you said, the way they do it basically is through fear. So the more fear that you feel and the more that you buy into certain things that you see externally in the world, then they're getting fed. So they're scoring. And so that's why I say, like, we are remembering our power. So just like Mother Earth, we're also reclaiming and remembering our sovereignty and our power. And it's not power over others, it's the power within you, the power with each other. Because once you awaken and you start walking this path of ascension, healing, expansion, you basically see things from a different perspective, and you realize that your frequency is really, really important, because you're contributing or not to that ascension, right? So if I am vibrating in fear and that's my frequency, I'm not the cell that contributes to that ascension. I'm like the cell that is believing something that doesn't exist. It does exist at some perspective, from some perspective at some level, but you can see beyond. And I think that's what we're heading towards as collectives too, is most of us need to start to see beyond the physical and the external world, because if we're just getting caught in what's happening externally, then nothing's going to change much, right? So one of the messages that the Pleiadians keep sharing with us is that we are the new Earth, right? We are the 5D new Earth. We co-created, but we are it. It's not that Earth is going to change and then we're going to enter a new Earth or a new place. It's not a house.
It's the vibration.
Yeah, it's not a house.
It's a frequency. Yeah,
that's being built for you, and then you're in your house, and then when it's ready, you just move in. You're in the house, and you're being one of the pieces that are making the house, right? And like you said too, it's the frequency too. If you're vibrating in that frequency of the new Earth, then you're being it. And so that's what we need. We need more people vibrating in that 5D level of awareness, so that Earth can continue to ascend.
Exactly. And I think we can't, as starseeds and lightworkers and ones who are anchoring the light on Earth at this time, you being very much more public about it, me getting there, a lot of people are kind of now coming online, and a lot of starseeds and lightworkers are coming online, and they want to get involved. They want to get their hands dirty and start spreading the truth, and not only because we're trying to force people or kind of awaken people, but it's just because it's so fucking exciting to speak about, like, we are finally free. We're like, the Israelites, for one example, breaking free from the Pharaoh after so many years of just being under the thumb of something that we never, just all part of the plan, but we just never had to be under anyone's dark shadow, So, yeah, I think let's chat about what's coming up. We've got the Lionsgate portal, 888, baby. And at this time, we're in a very heightened state of manifestation, which, for those who don't know, I want to just kind of pinpoint this so we get specific about it. You've already manifested what you need to. You've already manifested multiple timelines. They all exist in the potentiality of the void in the quantum field. It's all there. It exists. So I think, and let's chat about this, the most potent way to invite that timeline in or jump onto that most successful timeline instead of thinking that you have to manifest the old way. The old way of manifesting is done. I'm seeing that we're not manifesting at all. We are just embracing our highest timeline and our highest self and asking that to collapse in time to the now moment and giving the vibration of gratitude is the actual vibration that we release, which brings that highest timeline closer. So at this point in time, between 7-7 and our 8-8 Lions Gate, we're had a very heightened kind of state of manifestation. So let's chat about that. Like making sure that you know exactly where it is you're going, being clear about your intentions and your manifestation. Let's chat about intentions and
Yeah. No, what you've said is perfect. And I mean, I always talk about the power of intention. And I feel like the first thing that's coming to mind is, and that's a little bit of the work that I did with my group on the 7-7, which was more to make room for the new. Like that can be literally making room physically, like decluttering, just letting go of things that are just taking up space in your physical material world, energetically being grateful for it and just letting it go, but also just letting go and releasing old frequencies, beliefs, emotions, so things that have served you so far, but now for you to be the next version of yourself, you just need to let that go. And I know that for some this might sound like I've heard this before, like every full moon it's like release what no longer serves you, but it's true. It's true. We always have to let go of things, and it's something that we don't think much about it. We don't actually do. I've recently moved, and I try to be as minimalist as I can. So I didn't have much, but even though I didn't have much, I still donated a bunch of things and just threw away things that I didn't need. It's like the teddy bear that I had when I, since I was
oh,
3.
but yeah, shit.
It's carrying energy. It's carrying memories, and
Mm,
it's carrying energy that I don't need anymore. I can
yeah.
heal my inner child without the teddy bear, right? It's just a memory in my consciousness. So, and I know it's tough for some of us to be detached like that. So there is a level of detachment, but there's also a level of just trusting that you have everything that you need in you, and you don't want to carry things that are just bringing you back, or maybe weighing you down. So that's one thing, and I know I'm talking more like physically, but the, it again, everything is interconnected. Like I was just saying, it's not just your physical body or just your emotions. They're not separate. It's the same thing. So objects also carry energy and emotions, and so this is really important, because if you are constantly in that cycle of becoming a new version of yourself, you need to make room, you need to let go. It's as if you're just walking, and I usually guide people through visualizations where you're just walking through a path, but you're carrying a bag that's heavy. Are you going to put more stuff in the bag in your next path, in your next version, or you want to just get rid of that so that you have more room? And then yes, we might get more things in the next cycle, but then we have to let them go. So it's a constant thing. And this is what I would say, like, if you haven't done that, try to do that somehow through journaling or through physically clearing, and and then for me, like you said, I feel like the manifestation has been a very like mental activity or a mental ritual. It's like what do I want to manifest? Like, is it the house? Is it the relationship? Is it the job? Um, and I feel like we have to just come back to the heart, because many times you think you want something in your life, but your heart wants something else. So when you connect with your heart and you really ask your heart, what does my heart desire? And you know this, the Pleiadians are very big on the heart, because in the heart you can really feel what you want and what you desire, but also what is for your highest good and the highest good of all. Because you might want to manifest something that your soul knows it's not for your highest good, but the universe might give it to you just so that you can learn something from it. So I feel like that's not to say that you shouldn't plan or you shouldn't think about the things you want, but always check in with your heart and ask, what does my heart desire? And follow that. Follow that with trust that you're always guided and that you're always provided. And I feel like when you're following that path of the heart and you're surrendering to that, disconnecting from what your mind wants, it feels more flowing. It feels more like things are happening smoothly. It's not to say that you'll never face a challenge, but even through the challenge you'll find a way to work it out, because that's when your spirit guides, your higher self is just like pushing you into that direction, and it might not be necessarily what you thought you wanted.
Mm. And that's the thing with a lot of people. Like, we've been told that if we want to manifest, we've got to like think and then do and then go and then, like actually physically take action. And if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't manifest the right way, we get disappointed. And then we start like, universe, why the hell, blah, blah, blah. When actually, the second we silence our minds, move out of our minds, sit down for a long period of time, not just an hour. Oh yeah, I did an hour's meditation. Like, yeah, well, good one, buddy, well done, or good one, girlfriend, you did an hour's meditation. No, you sit down, you turn the phone off, you listen to what's going on around you, and that will automatically bring you into a space of as isness. And then that silence and that quiet moment, once you've quieted your mind, you can actually then, yes, like you said, move into the heart space. Just be with what is. And as soon as you're in the moment of being with what is and allowing the birds and the traffic going past your window to just be, and you just noticing it and not judging it and observing it, in comes your higher self. In comes those beautiful messages of saying, that isn't what we had planned for you. We have a completely different story for you. And let's tell you about that. Let's give you those feelings and those little insights and those little visions. Here's a couple of visions of something completely different that has nothing to do with your vision board. And then that's the truth of your higher self and your guides coming through. It's not your mind saying, oh, I'm my higher self, I'm forcing my way down a new timeline. I'm. The timelines that you're on are not up here anymore. The timelines that we're on are coming down here. And aligning vibrationally with those timelines instead of thinking, oh, I've got a quantum jump onto another timeline. Let's think of how to do that. Like, no, no, no. Don't get too technical about it. It's actually quite easy. And you'll probably agree with me on this one. Sit down and get into that space of being with yourself, with your body, with your breath.
Yeah, yeah, and that there's an exercise that I do in one of the weeks from my program, my 9 week program, the Multidimensional Self, which is a manifestation exercise that I guide people through visualizing, blah blah blah, and then one of the question is, now that you've visualized it, ask your heart, do you really want this? And it sounds like a stupid question, like of course I want it, like I'm visualizing it. But when you're in that state of deep connection with your heart, or call it your soul, your higher self, it might not be as obvious that what you think you want is what you really want. And the other thing that I got from what you were talking to is, you don't need to know all the steps or all the timelines that are necessary for you to get to a specific timeline, because timelines aren't fixed, and it's all down to the actions and the choices that you make today, that you make now. And so when you're feeling that excitement or that joy, or you're just feeling like, yeah, I feel like this is really the right path for me right now, what is it? Like, it's, you don't have to, I know it sounds cliche, but there's this quote, like, you don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to see the next step. But it's true, like, and oftentimes, if I'm connecting with my guides, and I'm maybe like in just wanting some clarity on something, I'll just ask, what is the right next step? What is the right next step for me, for my highest good, for the highest good of the collective, of all? So just the next step can take you to the next step, and sometimes a small choice that might seem not a big deal for you can actually create motion and movement in your life, and that is what we need, because sometimes we're just feeling stagnant, we're stuck, and everything is energy, we are energy, and so sometimes we just get stuck because, again, we're like in the mind thinking about all this, the strategy and the plans and the steps, and 5 years from now or 10 years from now. It's not to say that it's completely wrong to think about the future, that's not what I'm saying, but when you're in the process of manifesting, this can be a little bit just cause a little bit of stagnation, really, because then you're thinking about the big choices, or the future in the long term, and you're forgetting now, like, what is the action that I can take now that can help me to move forward and just help me to create motion and to create movement.
And usually it's our higher self that's saying, like Bashar would say, your higher self is on the top of the peak of the mountain and sees the whole story. We're in the valley, and we can't see what the higher self can see. So in order to be able to really manifest really quickly, we've got to be in this present moment and allow that surrender to say, okay, show me what you have for me now. And magic starts to happen. If we say, I'm moving out of my mind, I'm moving into my heart space, I'm grounding my energies, I'm breathing consciously, I'm eating healthily, and I'm stepping slowly. And if I need to move quickly, I'll feel the quick movement to be agile and accelerate whatever's coming. But I'm going to trust in exactly one step after the next. And it's almost like blind faith. Hey, Will, it's almost like we're being asked to close our eyes, forget about this whole reality that we're actually in and manifesting, which is just a reflection of our consciousness, really, which still blows my mind. Like this world that I'm in, I've manufactured. My consciousness is manufacturing my surroundings. If we close our eyes and get out of our mind and trust from the heart, like you said, and with the leading and the will and the passion from our solar plexus will always also lead us forward. And then you can start to see where all the chakras come in. Where we're speaking our truth from our throat chakra, where we're seeing through the illusions of this reality with our third eye, when we're letting in the information from our crown chakra, closing your eyes and trusting. It's like a walking meditation that Joe Dispenza does, you know? You can just literally walk. Imagine if you walked around with your eyes closed for like a week, trusting that you were on your highest timeline. When you opened your eyes again, you would not be in the same place. So I think that's what we're being called to do at the moment, not only just through manifesting our most extravagant, beautiful dream for ourselves and for the collective as well, which is obviously we are one, we are a family, but also realizing that we are also extraterrestrial beings and we have these beautiful powers of focus and these beautiful powers of intention. These are our magical powers. Like a lot of people will be like, what do you mean intention is not a magical power? It is a God-given magical power where you can focus your energies, and trust is also a magical power where you can just surrender and trust and things just open up. We really just have to try and get to that point of aligned action. And the more you spend in meditation, the more you spend in sitting with yourself and getting through your shit, aligned action happens.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes easy, right?
Yeah, and then the aligned action is down to you to take it, right? Because you can spend hours in meditation and receive the guidance but not take the action. So that's like the masculine energy part of it, like receive the guidance but then take the action that feels aligned for you. And yes, I always talk about the power of intention because it's something that it's so simple too. And I see it as, you know, our thoughts are signals that we're sending out into the cosmos, and in the universe is hearing them. So if you are conscious about your thoughts and you're just sending out thoughts that are conscious, that are not just, you know, a bunch of thoughts that are just popping up, which happens for most of us most of the time. So can you make the time to set intentions, which basically is conscious thoughts, right? What is it that your heart desires? What is it that you want to, how do you want to feel? How do you want to move about your day? So you can set intentions when you wake up and you go to bed, before a meeting, before going for a walk, and that is just the signal that you're sending out into the universe, and then you just trust that that will reach and you'll receive that back, because that's also one of the laws of the universe, is that of giving and receiving. So the thoughts that you're giving out, you will receive them back, and not as a punishment. It's the universe doesn't punish you, but the universe matches your frequency. And so if you're having bad thoughts and you're wishing hatred to the world, I mean that eventually is going to come back to you, that same frequency.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, because we're electromagnetic beings and our heart isn't just a pump that pumps blood around our body, it actually gives off an electromagnetic field, which is also the frequency that we're putting out and attracts our reality we are actually building our reality around ourselves as we move through this 3D, 4D kind of consciousness. So not only just having your thoughts aligned with intention of what your desires are and what you're going to do with your day and how you're going to think about who you are in the next moment, but also that actual feeling, the feeling of in your body, which is also what's happening is that our DNA is growing, it's expanding. You know, where our DNA is metamorphosizing into a 12-strand DNA. So on a very physical level, we are opening up and allowing yourself the feeling of being in your body in this point of consciousness, and being very aware of that too. Not only just what your thoughts are, but just being aware of your feelings. And you know, if you're comfortable with where you are, you're going to be great. Everything's going to go fine. If you're feeling happy with where you are, the world around you and your 3D matrix that you're creating is going to work out perfectly. But if you're not feeling great, if you're thinking positive thoughts, but you're not feeling great, there's a misalignment, which is also going to just not bring in the life that you really deserve.
Yeah, and I'll add to this that it's not to say that if you're feeling sad or frustrated or angry or whatever it is at some point, because we are beings of frequency, and so just like frequency we're going to go up and down. That's not to say that if you're feeling this you can't reach that sense of alignment or connection with your heart. Is just, I think it all comes down to awareness and your self-awareness of your thoughts, of your emotions, and how you're dealing with your everything that's happening within you and what seems to be outside of you. Having the awareness can, and that's why like it's a continuous journey to expand your consciousness, because the more that you expand your consciousness or your awareness, then the more aware, basically the more aware you are of your thoughts, the more aware you are of your emotions, and the less judgmental you are of your own emotions, of your own ego, of your own thoughts. So that is, that is a 5D state of consciousness. When you have that observant self tuned in for most of the time, that even if you're feeling feelings that you might perceive as negative or moments of 3D duality, separation, like when you're in traffic or something, or when you have an argument with your partner, with your mom. So if you have that awareness, you're able to reflect on this and at some point just see for what it is. It was a moment that you were in that duality space, and you got carried away, your thoughts got the better of you, but you're able to transmute that. You're able to give yourself that love, that compassion, that forgiveness, because that's what 5D is rooted in love and unity consciousness. And so these are moments that serve you too. But the difference is if your awareness is at a 3D level of awareness, or maybe like a lower 4D, then you might not be able to have that moment of reflection, or you're not aware, you're just doing things, and you're just pointing fingers because you're just blaming everything, like you're fine. Right? You got angry because the guy just cut you on the avenue, whatever. So yeah, I think that it comes down to how aware are you, and that's something I feel like sometimes people get confused, because they might think like you get to a 5D level of awareness and then that's where you stay, and then nothing triggers you and you're never angry or you're never nothing.
Spiritual bypassing.
Yeah, and it's possible, and you could get to that place, but it's not really a destination. You know, it's just a continuous journey of expanding your consciousness, and the more that you practice, the more that you're able to also go through those challenges, those 3D, 4D challenges, and observe and find your way back into your heart center, then you will have more moments of 5D. But that's not to say that you'll never have moments of 3D. Even that can also carry a sort of dualistic energy to it, because then you think, oh, the 3D is bad, but the 3D is not bad. It's just, it can be bad when you're just vibrating in separation and in duality, because there's more to that. But there are moments that you actually need to be in your 3D because you need to schedule an appointment, you need to be at a certain time at the airport to take your flight. So, you know, the 3D is also just the linear space and time, the realm of the linear space and time. And there are moments that we actually need to be in our 3D selves to function, because otherwise then you're not going to be able to function, and then, you know, you're not here anymore. You know.
Yeah, you're kind of in the clouds. So amazing, Will, amazing. Tell me, what are you up to now with your channels? What's coming up?
Well, I'm very excited to start a new group with my program. It's a 9-week program called the Multidimensional Self, a journey through the 9 dimensions of consciousness. Every week we go through one dimension of consciousness. We learn about it. We have practices, a lot of breath work, a lot of sound healing, some channeling as well. So it's really like a journey. I run it twice a year. I don't know when this is coming out, but the second half of the year is starting September, and then there's another one next year. So that's something that I always do, and it really excites me. It brings me a lot of joy to just guide people through this journey. I learn a lot from them, and it feels like a safe space to. I mean, that's my intention. I aim to provide that space for Starseeds and Lightworkers, and basically bring that concept of multidimensionality that sometimes feels very far off, or you feel like it's just out there, but actually, like, the multidimensionality is within you. Like, you are the being with all these layers and these dimensions of consciousness within you. So that's something that I'm excited about. And other than that, I have my videos and on YouTube that I post every week. I do some channeled messages, some meditations, some conversations, some soul casts. There's also my daily messages from the Pleiadians on Instagram. I also do a course that is called Introduction to Channeling, that we're actually on the 2nd week right now, that I just want people to know that they can channel too. Everybody can. It's just a inherent skill of our, of humanity, and we're like slowly remembering that, that this is also our power to, activate and develop our psychic abilities. And that's it. I'm also excited to make more music too. There isn't any plan specifically, because I've recently released a song, but I just want to create more from a different space to when I was writing music a few years ago, and I feel like now I just want to start writing from the frequency and the state of consciousness that I am now. So that's it.
That's amazing. And your song is "Love Is All There Is."
Yes. Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. Well, it's fantastic. And you know that every day I love your Instagram Pleiadian share. I share as many as I can, and so thank you for that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. This I think is going to be coming out next week, so we're right on time for this one. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna put, not guys. That's nondescript. Souls and loved ones, bright lights.
Don't worry, I say
I'm gonna
guys
be
too.
putting. Yeah, I know it's like it's so old school. But I'm going to be putting Will's details down underneath this video, all of his links, where to find him. And I think, the biggest thing for me too, because I'm also learning how to properly verbally channel from other channels. Um, I think it's really important that people click on that link below, look at your offering, get involved, and we won't have to do much because everyone's just going to be channeling themselves. They won't be like, "Oh, hey, Will, can you like send a message from the Pleiadians? Like, what do I do?"
Yeah,
You're like, "Nah, you channel yourself."
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So,
that's what I see for the future too. That's what I'm trying to co-create, and I know it will happen. I don't know when. I can't tell you exactly the date, but it will happen. It is happening.
it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. I think it's par for the course of what's going to be happening, where we at one point will just be telepathically communicating, and that is basically we're going to be channeling with each other, permanently tapped in. So people, I think the sooner we start to learn to properly channel from Will and other channelers in the world, but especially Will, because you're a favorite of mine, and I love you lots for what you're doing. Yeah, no, I really mean that because a lot of. I also wanted to add this in. We've got to be discerning about people coming out of the woodworks and saying that they can help you channel, or that they can heal you. A lot of healers and a lot of kind of breathwork kind of people are coming out of the woodworks that don't look too great. Their marketing is too robust. It's when I go to a couple of pages, I click through to the website, and it just does not look like it's authentic at all. So I want to say to everyone watching this, be discerning about who you connect with, and be discerning about who you do any energy work with, or any kind of activations with. Because a lot of people now, especially at this time, they'll be like, now we can do a pranic energy activation for you. Like, no worries. I can do it over the phone. And you open yourself up to shitty energy if you do not trust this person, or know this person, or have any kind of verification of who they are. I'm just saying, be very discerning about, especially at this point in time, because there's a lot of shit coming out of the woodworks.
Yeah, and
Deceptive stuff.
there's something about discernment too that I often talk about, which is first it's related to your sovereignty, but also it's very much related to resonance. And so one of the languages of the future is the language of energy, just reading energy and how you feel and how it resonates with your heart and with your soul. So the more attuned you are to subtle energies within you, the more that you are attuned to your heart's guidance, to your higher self, and to your soul, this resonance will just be instant. And it might be that it's just a resonance thing too. It's not necessarily that they're doing a bad job, but their energy might not resonate with your energy, with where you are, and so then you're able to see that and just follow that guidance. Sometimes, yes, it can be that they're really not in a with the best of intentions, and so then your energy will also you will feel that resonance too. And so yes, it's all about learning that language of energy and just feeling energy, because that's also one of the psychic skills that probably the most important one, which is the feeling, clairsentient and claircognizant, when you just know things, and it's when you feel, right, like you enter a room and you just feel that energy, but then you're able to be this, make the decisions, have the discernment whether or not you want to stay there, or how you're going to stay in your frequency. So I think what you're saying is really important, and developing that resonance, that awareness is also really, it's going to help you a lot on your path.
Mm. And I think, I agree with everything what you say, Will. And I think a lot of healers know that healers don't heal anybody else. It's the same thing with being a shaman. Shamans don't call themselves shamans. Shaman means I see in the dark. That's literally what shaman means. And so healers will come to you in various beautiful ways. I don't think, and this is where the discernment comes in. If someone is going to tell you that they're going to heal you, like, that's already an alarm bell. So I'm just saying to everybody watching this video, just be quite careful, because a lot of people are trying to kind of suck a lot of things out on this spiritual ascension journey. Like, oh, here's something we can tap into as a brand new market, and just fool everybody.
Yeah, you
So
are the healer. You heal yourself, and a
exactly.
healer will just guide you, and that's why I like the word guide, because I just guide people, but also, like, you have to do your work and your part, and I kind of take inspiration from my own guides too, because they will never tell me what to do, or they won't necessarily heal me, but they'll guide me through my consciousness, so that I'm aware of what I need to work through. Yes, they will do some energetic work, but it's always, they always respect my free will. They want me to be sovereign, and that's kind of how I work too. When I'm working with people, whether it's one-on-one or group, I want people to be sovereign. I want people to know that they can heal themselves, and it's all up to them. I'm just here to be a mirror and guide, and yeah.
You're an amazing guide. You are tapped in more than anybody in my kind of big circle of influence on Instagram and in the world. You're
Thank you.
doing a really, really fantastic,
I'm
beautiful job.
just a reflection of your consciousness. So, thank you.
I'm happy about that. Yeah, we're doing good things here, Will. So thank you very much for round two. It's always special, kind of speaking about these beautiful things together and putting information together for others to understand, because a lot of people are in the dark about what's going on, and like, this helps us to have that conversation, so we can actually just all start having an open ended, respectful, mutually joyful conversation about what's happening, and also not take it so goddamn seriously.
Yeah, totally. And I hope that people will get something out of this conversation, whatever resonates with them. Feel free to also reach out to us and comment. Yeah, and I thank you for creating this safe space for me, for us, to have these kind of conversations. And I think it's so much needed right now, that we create more of those sacred safe spaces, so that people can listen, participate, speak about, and just shift their frequency. So thank you, and I appreciate your work.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate yours too. Chat soon, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Much love to you and to everybody watching or
Much
listening.
love.